via Facebook streaming, YouTube streaming, and also via Skype. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming from our studios in Trinidad. You are logged in, you are connected from wherever you are. Sutras of Vigyan Bhairav Tantra never create antipole against negative emotions. What does this mean? What are the negative emotions? Anger, hatred, jealousy, violence, and sex. So you can create, there are many places they are advertising anger management. They charge huge sum of money and teach you how to manage anger. Anger cannot be managed. All these negative emotions, first and the foremost requirement is you have to understand their nature, how they come into existence. The only way for us to interact in the world of objects and beings is our mind, guided by five sense organs: eyes, ears, nose, touch, and voice. So when these are the only thing, and mind is the sixth sense organ, all eyes carry the information, ears carry the information, nose carries its information in a certain area where mind with its conditioning decides and make the judgment, and that guides your action. So negative emotions are the interaction between your conditionings through the mind, conditionings, understanding of the mind, when these interact with the objects and beings. You see a particular situation happening anywhere in the world, based on your conditioning, you create an emotion in you that guides you. First and the foremost thing is the understanding this. You can manage the mind, but that will be false. On the surface, it is said one should not get angry. The anger is brewing within like a volcano, any moment ready to erupt, and you are wearing a smile on your face. Husband and wife are quarreling with one another. There is a volcanic eruption. All of a sudden somebody comes in. Both of them wear a smile on their face. When they go in public, they are holding hand in hand with one another, leaning the head on somebody else's shoulder. You look at it. Is it really happening, or is it an acting? So what happens? Christians go on thinking that through Jesus salvation is there, but it has not happened as yet. The world has remained the same since Jesus was crucified nearly 2000 years ago, but we go on hoping that someone else will suffer and we will remain in the state of bliss. No. Everyone has to carry his own cross on his shoulders, just as Jesus carried. And when you are carrying your cross, meaning that you have to go through your own problems yourself, yes, examples can be given, and that is the purpose of the awakened ones, that do not run away from this. Try to understand the nature of these, and then when you carry the cross, you are crucified, and on the cross, before death, the awakening comes to you. Why have you forsaken me? Why do these miseries and misfortunes and problems come in my life? Let thy will prevail. In Mayor of Casterbridge, Thomas Hardy, is a famous play of Thomas Hardy, in that there is a clergy, a priest. He has problems. So he asks a question. This is soliloquy. He says, why do miseries and misfortunes come to a clergy? The answer comes from Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy is using the soliloquy. The priest is talking to himself. A moment of awakening has come to him. He says, why do miseries and misfortunes come to a clergy? Simply to enhance the favors of Almighty, is the answer that comes in the form of a soliloquy from the priest itself, from the clergy itself. So then, this is what happened there in Jesus. On the cross, he is complaining, the human element is complaining, Father, why have you forsaken me? As every individual does, why do problems come to me and me alone and not to anybody else? Then Jesus gives the answer, that you have to remember that. Let thy will prevail. And that very moment Jesus becomes Christ. Before that he was Jesus. And thereafter he is known as Jesus Christ. Jesus the Christ. Gautam the Buddha. So, do you want to understand this first and live your life accordingly? Or you are going with that Jesus has died for your sins, so you don't have to worry about. What are you doing with them? The society teaches you to create the antipole. Greed is there, say that, suppress it. So what you do, those people who are greedy, they are greedy for the money. Now they are greedy for creating the good deeds. So they are giving charities, donations to those places where they can get recognition. I know someone gives a big donations for temples and all these places. But if I ask them to give me a donation of maybe $500 to carry on my work that I am doing, because they do not agree with the work that I am doing, they are all false. They are interested in giving the donation to the temples, churches, because there the nameplate is established. If they give a donation to the school, their nameplate is displayed that this pool or this temple or this particular place is built by the donation of this person, whereas something like this will not happen with me. So you have created antidote for greed. So you will get recognition. When you are giving donations to the temples and churches, huge sum of money, you are creating greed in a different form. Greed for recognition. Earlier was greed for accumulation, but accumulation remains the same. Oh, this man is very charitable. He gives the donation to the needy people, to the churches, to the temples, to schools, colleges, everywhere. And by me, if he gives me $1,000, it will not be recognized. There will be no official recognition for this, because I'm not creating an antipole for greed. Anger is the same thing. You are supposed to bear a false smile. No, first you have to understand anger. Do not be angry. So what you do, You push the anger in the background, and on the face you bear a smile. So what happens? Anger goes on deeper into you, goes on accumulating deep within, and remains, and it is like an active volcano. So what you become because of the anger, an active volcano. Whether a particular circumstance and situations is warranted or not, deserves the volcanic eruption or not, the volcano does not know when to erupt and when not to. It has its own mechanism. When it is there are many volcanoes, they are very active and they can erupt anytime. So every human being is an active volcano because of suppressed anger and suppressed negative emotions, sex, greed, violence. Any occasion comes in, you use that occasion as an excuse for the volcano to erupt. And is it not happening on a day-to-day basis? The more energy is accumulated within as anger, as greed, as sex, the more it is suppressed. It becomes your unconscious reservoir. And against this anger, you go on smiling. That smile becomes false because while anger is knocking within, how can you smile? You can smile, but that will be a false thing. Introspect. Does it not happen around you all the time? So what it is happening with this, you are divided into two. A false smile and real anger. Anger is suppressed in the subconscious, unconscious, and consciously you are smiling. So between conscious and unconscious there is a conflict. So false smile becomes your personality, that persona that you exhibit publicly. And in reality, the anger remains your soul. You are divided against yourself, against your conscious and unconscious. Unless conscious and unconscious work in harmony with one another, the process of transformation cannot happen. You want to walk. Both feet has to support one another. For the process of walking to happen. So conscious and unconscious are 2 feet, 2 hands, 2 sides of the brain that have to work in harmony with one another for transcendence, for transformation, for anything to happen. And this is very important. A false smile and real anger. This is the situation. All that is good, all that is created is false, and all that is bad remains real. The real you carry within, the anger remains within, waiting for the opportunity to erupt, and the false shows outside. Consciously you are trying to be false because unconsciously you cannot be false. You have to do wrong only consciously. Unconsciously it cannot happen. This is the situation of what we call in psychology as schizophrenia. Schizophrenic. And every man has become schizophrenic, divided, not only divided, but constantly fighting within. So the husband and wife are going to a party, hand in hand, holding the hand in hand. The moment they are coming in front of the camera to take the pictures, and so the moment camera is off, leave my hand. And you observe the people, observe their behavior in such places. This fight is stupid, ignorant, but this is what is happening. I am not suggesting, what I am suggesting, what is the correct way. Do not create anything false around you. The false will never lead you to the real. Unconscious and conscious has to work in harmony with one another. But if they are, only then, when they neutralize one another, when the left foot neutralizes, means they is stationary, the right foot takes a move, left foot does not create an anti-situation, and then the other foot moves forward, and with this process, the false will never lead you to the real. The false will lead you more and more to the false. Do not create the false. Allow the real, the total expression. So, when the anger is there, but you are told the opposite. Do not express anger. It is not religious. Yes, there are ways and means. I had explained and discussed some of the ways and means yesterday. You can use a pillow. Write the name of your enemy on the pillow. You can use a boxing bag. What I have understood about Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, that when he has to go and for a bout, he will use the boxing bag as his opponent, and with full of fury he will box it with fervor. On the pillow write the name of your enemy or your friend, and remember, we are more angry at our friends than at our enemies. Just put a picture of your wife or husband on the pillow and bring your anger and violence out. To one person, because of his financial incapabilities, instability, he was of an African descent, he turned into a Muslim. That's the term when Afro descent people turn into, they are known as in Trinidad as Muslimin. So he was very much against his mother, something or the other which they do not need to be mentioned. So very angry. He was violent. His anger has reached to the extreme that it was violent. So first day when he came, he was suggested by somebody. He came to the office. That time we had the cassette players. So I gave him a cassette. I said, keep on listening to this cassette. So from 8 o'clock or 8:30 he would have come. Until 4 o'clock he remained sitting down and listening to that cassette again and again. So I said, would you like to eat anything? He said no. Did not eat anything, remained. Then one day I had told him, that I would like you to create this particular place into the place of meditation. He asked me, do you think I can do it? I said, I did not ask you if you can do it or not. I told you, you do it. So there was a ceiling, like say the roof was there, so it was exposed, not ceiling was not there, suspended ceiling or what kind of ceiling. The floor was wooden, it was the mezzanine floor in particular place of the factory. So I said, what you will do, I would like to create this part, divide this into 3 sections as it was apparent. The middle section we will keep as for the meditation, one room, one side that we will keep it for individual meditation, and this side we will keep it for those people who want to listen to the cassettes or do reading or writing or something there. So I said, what do you need? I said, what I have, fabric. You can use the fabric to create the ceiling, and we can get the same thing. You can use the fabric to create the partition and use the thin foam and some fabric over it instead of carpet for flooring. He did it. Then we had to create a kitchen. So I said, look, you don't want to spend the money, you have to use your creativity. So I said, next door there is a factory, the furniture factory. You can get scrap pieces of wood that you can use it. Out of that he created a frame. Then I said, and on that frame he used the cardboard boxes, and on the cardboard boxes he used the vinyl to stick it. So the wall is made from the scrap wood. The cardboard boxes became the the inner layer, and on that he used the decorative vinyl. So this is how his violence or the negative energy was put into a creative manner. Then it got very mellow with that. Then I said, what you do, you sit down in the upstairs meditation room. Then he used those scrap woods to make the small tables and kind of benches where the staff could sit down for their lunch and their break time. So he did it. The only thing I had to provide him, the material like nails, these wooden staples, and the glue that was needed. And he did everything out of that. So the negative energy was put into creative format. He was not aware of it, but I am consciously doing it, how to transform him. You can do this with your children. If you find they have their negativity or you have negativity, you can find the ways and means to create the creativity, to transform that energy into creative things. Then I said, look, there is a bulb. Consider this bulb as your enemy, your mother, who you want to kill. And curse. Give as much things, say as much things as you want to say. Whatever is suppressed in you and bothering you, express it out. Nobody is listening to it. If you want to scream, if you want to shout, you can do it. Nobody is going to listen to it. He did it. There again he became mellow. Then I said, take this pillow. There is a pillow and there is a knife. Take this knife. Consider this pillow to be your mother and kill her. One day happened, 2 days happened, 3 days. Happened he himself came. I asked him every day, did you do it? He said, no, tomorrow. Tomorrow. Then one day he said, I cannot do it. I don't feel to kill her anymore. I feel love towards her. So the negative emotions was transformed. This you can do it. This is the way you can create your own ways and means. I gave you the example. So he was continuing to wear that the construction boots, the particular typical kind of attire. So I asked him, I said, you don't want to wear the normal clothes? He said, I don't have the money for all those things. I said, okay. I said, if I give you, would you change your particular attire to that? He said, if I get the clothes, I will do it. I said, I gave him some track pants and t-shirts. Use it. So then I said, I would like you to burn those clothes. He said, burn those clothes? I don't want to burn those clothes. I said, okay, keep it. You want to keep it or put it as an ornament in a museum, you can do it. He kept it in a bag, and every day he's carrying and bringing it back. And so one day he said, I thought of it again and I want to burn those clothes. I said, there is a space between the two factories, put them to fire, burn. He burned it. So what he did, consciously he burned all that, and the life transformed. So you can do this to your anger or any negative emotion. You have to be creative. Allow yourself full expression. Act it out consciously, meditatively. Only then it will not harm you, and at the same time it will not harm any other person. So neither you will be masochist nor sadist. What Mahatma Gandhi used to do, when somebody is not agreeing with him, he will say that he is going to do the fast unto death. Fast unto death. So the same thing, he did it with one of the freedom fighters. Same thing. I do not recall the name, that was a prominent person. So he said, I am doing the fast unto death. So Gandhi went on fasting because that man did not agree with him. So he remained fasting. The person thought that today Gandhi will leave the fasting. When it did not happen and he became frail and weak, then he said, I agree not because I agree with your views. I am reconciling simply because I do not carry the burden of your death on my shoulders, that because of me you died. That was his statement, and he said, with that I withdraw my message, like I agree with you, reconcile with you, not because I agree with you, but simply because I do not want to carry the burden of your death on my shoulders. So this was sadist. Somebody else kills the other, it becomes masochist. So either you will harm the other or you will harm yourself. I do not want you to harm yourself or somebody else. There is a midway. That way is the way of transcendence, transformation that comes with understanding. Allow yourself full expression. What I did with that person, allowed him full expression in parts, so that it starts getting the mellow, softer and softer. When you have to mold a particular piece of iron, so you heat it up and then you start molding. So first you change its shape a little bit, and then you have to flatten it out. This is this thick iron. You cannot do it one day. You have to keep on pounding it, the heating it. When it gets red hot, then you are using the hammer and anvil, or the something on which it can be put and flattened, and then from that you transform it into knife. You bring it to a shape. This thick piece of iron is transformed into a shape of a knife. When the shape of knife has come in, then it has to be polished, it has to be sharpened, it has to be provided a proper handle, and then the same piece of iron which was of no use can be transformed into a sharp chef's knife that can decorate the hands of a master chef and can create the use to create the vegetables for chiffonade or any other way of cutting. For Chinese food, you have to shred, chiffonade, cut into, dice it, or whatever form that particular dish requires. This is the transformation. In any situation, the volcano can erupt. It is erupting every day. Someone kills someone, and that is all because of ignorance. When it becomes a mass communication, then it acquires the form of a war. War is not the solution. It creates a retardation. It brings the humanity 100 years back. Anything that can be solved with proper understanding, we must have respect for each other's sovereignty and wills. The children also have their ways and means, the views. Not that simply because you are the head of the family, or you are the bread earner, or you are the father, then you are right, or husband is right, or wife is right. It's not that you are all the time right and the other is 100% wrong. You can be right in one moment, 90%, somebody else can be wrong 10%. Children have their own ideas. Sometimes because they born 25, 30 years after you. We divide the world into Google era and pre-Google and post-Google era. So the children that are born in post-Google era, they are somewhat more advanced as far as the technology is concerned. But when you do not respect the children are when they grow up, like for instance, as a father, the children keep on asking the things again and again, and then you keep on giving them suggestion. But if you do not create the harmony with the children, then what will happen when you grow old and you want the children to check your laptop or your smartphone, they will say, "Daddy, you are too nagging." If you had learned to respect their views at times, they will support you in every moment. And that is the way you have so many thoughts in your mind for violence. You have planned many times the idea to murder someone, or yourself has come to you. It has happened to you if you are not absolutely idiotic. Psychologists say that an intelligent man is bound to think of suicide at least 10 times in his lifetime. At least 10 times. 10,000 times you think to murder someone else. 10 times he thinks of committing suicide, and 10,000 times you think of murdering someone else. You never do it. That is another thing. But you can do it. The possibility is there. But this is what is the present cause of wars that we see in ourselves. The violence, the anger is continuing to accumulate, erupts in various forms that we see all around us. Within our individual capacity as husband and wife, and also in the outer world. Make your anger a total act in meditation, and then see what happens. You will feel it coming from your whole body, not only from the mind. If you allow it, then every cell of your body will be in it. Like what happens in sex. Sex is a game of the mind. Only mind remains active, not the whole body. The moment your whole body is active in it, it is totally different. The whole body will be in a mad situation, totally into it. If you go mad, it will go mad, but allow it. Do not withhold it. Move with the river. Anger in a meditative way. Sex in a meditative way. Move with the river. And after the cyclone is over, you feel for the first time a deep center within you. A deep center within you. A subtle calmness will happen. This is what someone has mentioned. That there is a kind of calmness that has never happened before. But this has happened. When the anger is gone, when the violence is gone, when all lust is gone, sex is gone, there will be no repentance because you have not done it to anyone. There will be no guilt. You have involved in it meditatively. In case of sex, you have to involve with the other. So you have entered into it meditatively, totally, without any feeling of guilt that this should be done or that should be done or this should not be done. You will be unburdened, both physically and psychologically. And psychologically, there will be no guilt. You will be unburdened completely. Then anger is thrown out meditatively and silence comes. That silence is real. It is not the silence of the graveyard. It is the dancing and singing silence. You are not forced. You can sit like a Buddha in a lotus posture. You can force yourself, but the monkey within you will go on jumping. You can take the rosary, chant the mantra or anything that will not make, that can only make the body static for a certain moment. The mind is more mad than it ever was. When you sit for meditation without taking physical cleanliness or inner cleanliness, the odor, the bad smell. If you have not taken a shower and you are sitting in meditation, you will be absorbed in your own smell of the body, of the odor of your body, the bad smell. Or if it is mind, your mind will continue to create the situation that you can never, that was never there before. Whenever you sit in meditation, you feel what is happening. You are never so noisy within. The moment you sit down, you start itching here, there, because the energy in the normal way when you are talking, it is erupting through your hand gestures, through your words, through your eyes. But when you are sitting silently in meditation, then you are feeling the itching here, itching there, you are scratching all over. Then you feel like drinking water, you are thirsty, you are hungry, you are this and that. So why does so much things happen whenever you meditate? Why does mind go vagrant? Why do so many thoughts come like a cloud or like the waves? It is because your body is static. The body, no movement is happening through the body. And through this staticness of your body, you can feel the monkeyness of your mind. All kind of thoughts will continue to arise, because when the body is in movement, then you can express it through the body, through the vocal cord, through the hand gestures, through the eyes, or anything. So, but forced silence is of no use. Either you will not succeed in it, or you will succeed. And even if you succeed, you will go into sleep. That is what happens there. In meditation, people go into sleep. After the sex, they fall asleep. They are never alert and awake after that. After the sex, both partners turn their sights on the opposite direction, opposite sides. So the backs facing one another, and you fall asleep. Has it ever happened after making love, you sit down and do work for a couple hours? Sleep is natural. So when you sit down in meditation, 99% people sleep in meditation. It is good as far as sleep is concerned. Otherwise, it is useless. A real silence always happens only when some pent-up energy is released. So during the act of sex, pent-up energy is released, you fall asleep. But it is not the real sleep. Meditation is the real rest. You are awake, the body is at rest, mind is at rest. जब दिल को नींद आ जाती है और रूह भी कुछ गाफिल होती है, फिर मैं ही अकेला होता हूँ और यार की महफिल होती है. जब दिल को नींद आ जाती है, when heart goes to rest, that happens, that is a state of meditation. जब दिल को नींद आ जाती है और रूह भी कुछ गाफिल होती है, रूह, the being is also absorbed in it. फिर मैं ही अकेला होता हूँ, then I am all alone. And there is the company of my beloved, eternal beloved. फिर मैं ही अकेला होता हूँ और यार की महफिल होती है. कल साहिल वालों से रो रो ये डूबने वाले कहते थे, जो मौज डुबा दे तूफान को, वो मौज ही साहिल होती है. कल रो रो, फिर मैं ही अकेला होता हूँ और यार की महफिल होती है. कल डूबने वाले, जब दिल को नींद आ जाती है, फिर मैं ही अकेला होता हूँ और यार की महफिल होती है. कल साहिल वालों से रो रो ये डूबने वाले कहते थे. Those who are drowning, they lamenting, crying, and telling those who are on the shore, this is what your situation is. When you are drowning in your anger, in your negativities, I am standing on the shore, you are telling, you're narrating your problems to me, lamenting, crying. कल साहिल वालों से रो रो ये डूबने वाले कहते थे, जो मौज डुबा दे तूफान को. मौज, that kind of the state of awareness that can drown the entire storm, the blessing, that blissfulness that comes and that drowns the storm, the volcanic eruption. जो मौज डुबा दे तूफान को, वो मौज ही साहिल होती है, वो मौज ही साहिल होती है. That मौज, that state of blissfulness alone is the shore. जिंदगी के समंदर में उठा था एक दिन लहरों सा. One day I rose on the surface of the ocean like one of the myriad waves. This is your destiny. मिट आज चला सागर की गहराई में. Today I drowned in the vastness of the ocean, in the inner depth of the ocean. रह गई एक खामोशी सी हर मौज में. Now there is silence in every turmoil, every disturbance. रह गई एक खामोशी सी हर मौज में. तूफानों को जैसे साहिल मिल गया. As if every disturbance has found a shore. जिंदगी के समंदर में उठा था एक दिन लहरों सा. मिट आज चला सागर की गहराई में. रह गई एक खामोशी सी हर मौज में. तूफानों को जैसे साहिल मिल गया हर मौज में. Then every fiber in your body, in your being is relaxed. In that relaxedness, you can say you are in a state of no anger. You are in a state of no sex. You are not against anger. You have transformed anger into a creative way. How to do it? You need time. You need understanding. It is simply absence of anger. It is not that you have suppressed anger. It is not that you have suppressed sex. It is the absence of anger, absence of sex. Remember, the real is always the absence, not the opposite. Not the opposite, it is always the absence. Celibacy is absence of sex. The bliss is absence of anger. Real is always the absence, not the opposite. Not the opposite, it is always the absence. An absence of greed, an absence of sex, an absence of jealousy, but in that absence, your real flowers, the reality flowers, your being blossoms. Because the disease has gone, the health erupts. Now your inner health can flower, bliss can flower. And once it starts flowering, you will never accumulate anger. You will never accumulate sex again. You accumulate anger only because you are missing yourself. You accumulate sex because you have not experienced yourself. You desire, you demand, you aspire for sex more and more because you have not discovered your being. The moment you have discovered it, it kind of a dancing silence, and you have discovered yourself. Really, you are not angry at anyone. You are angry within yourself. But you go on projecting that the anger is, you go on projecting the anger on others. Otherwise, if you do not project anger on someone else, you will get mad. So you go on finding the excuses. Someone calls you, I am not in my moods, do not talk to me now. Really, you are angry because you are missing yourself. You have not discovered yourself. Your life has been a waste up to now. You are missing your destiny. You are missing your identity. That which is possible for you is not happening now. And that is why you are angry. You want the peace, you want bliss, you want the something, but it is not happening. Nothing is happening to you. Time goes on flowing. The wheel of time goes on mopping. As it rolls, no power can its fury ebb or can check its passage. It has been going and shall go for air without a break. Then do the most of what ye may, cause frigid claws of death may soon descend and seal your humble fate. Cause frigid claws of death may soon descend and seal your humble fate. Then you shan't have time, then you shan't have time, my friend. You shan't have time, my friend. Death is coming nearer and nearer. Wheel of time goes on mopping as it rolls. No power can its fury ebb or can check its passage. Because you remain unfulfilled as ever. And there seems to be no possibility. You have closed all the doors of being fulfilled within. Because of this, because you are not realizing your potentialities, because you have not become that which you have to be. The flower has not blossomed. The seed has not been planted. The process of growth, you have not allowed the process of growth to happen. Anytime any opportunity comes for the seed to burst open, you have truncated. You have cut off the path, cut off that passage. You are not realizing your potentiality because you have not become that which you are bound to become, which you can be, which is your destiny. What is the destiny of the seed? Destiny of the seed is to flower, to become a flower, and from flower to become a fruit. And then when fruit is consumed, it becomes the seed and the process continues. Then you go on finding the excuses. You throw your anger on this and that. Really, it is not the question of anger. And if you make it a question of anger, your diagnosis is wrong. Your real problem is something else. It is a question of self-realization, self-actualization, discovering your potentiality. Why is one violent? Why is one destructive? Because he is angry against himself, against his very being, because he is, and then he feels to be against the whole world. We'll continue this in tomorrow's talk. Why? It's not a question of anger. The question is of self-realization. Why are you angry? This you have to discover. Why are you angry? Have you discovered why are you angry? No. Have you discovered why are you violent? So you go on throwing your problems onto the others, and no solution can come from that. Only this much for this morning. Until we meet again, take care and do have a pleasant day.